Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have a puzzle here that is called Four Lines by ItzVara, and I have not heard of this creator before. So I always like to try to solve puzzles by creators that I have not seen their puzzles before. It doesn't mean they're not, I've said this previously, it doesn't mean that they haven't been producing puzzles for some time now, but I always like to try to get some new creators that, to me, on the channel so that I can expand my horizons on the creators that are out there, because I think everybody has their own kind of unique way of going about things. And so as you know, there are certain creators that I feature on my channel that kind of stick towards a theme half the time, but they veer off every now and again. But it's always nice to find new ones for me. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Let's get into the rules of this puzzle. As always, the links in the description below, so you guys and gals can play along if you like. So what do we have going on? So normal Sudoku rules apply. So our very normal, typical, every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each. Now, we've got digits and cages must sum to the given total. These are killer cages. So if you look at this digit here, this cage here, you've got two cells that must add up to some sum, and that sum would be 6 because that's the clue in the top left corner. Now we've got thermos. So digits along thermometers must increase starting from the bulb end. So this is the bulb, this is the tip, this is the lowest digit on our thermo, and it increases as it goes up the thermo. For gray lines, so 4 gray lines, I read it as F-O-R, not F-O-U-R. There are 4 gray lines in this puzzle. So 4 gray lines. That would make sense with the title. Good job. Digits along a line are palindromes and must read the same in both directions. Okay. So essentially, it means that in looking at this one, this is a palindrome. These two digits must be the same, and then this would be the middle digit. Here, these two are the same digit. There must be some instance where that maybe it's not printed here in the rules, but I'm going to go through the rule sets first, and then we'll get back to it in part of the solve, because I think it might flesh itself out, even though it's not specifically stated. So let's just go through the rules real quickly and then get to that. So digits along a line in palindromes or are palindromes that must read the same in both directions. So these two would be the same digit, and this would be the center digit. A line is German whisper lines. Two cells connected by a German whisper line must have a difference of at least 5. So let's say this was a German whisper line. This is a 2, so these would have to be at least 5 away from it. So 7, 8, or 9 would fit that bill. Two cells I just said that, dummy. I just want to make sure I didn't miss one. Okay, Renban, digits long, another 2 lines must form a consecutive set in any order. Okay, here's the part that I missed, and it might just be the way it's written that I didn't quite understand. It appears to be that we have 4 lines, one of them being a palindrome, one of them being a German whisper, and then 2 of them being a Renban. So Renban, digits long, another 2 lines must form a consecutive set in any order. Let's just go back to our 2 here. If this is a Renban line and it has a 2 in it, it could be 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4, something like that, but they don't have to be in a specific order because they're a Renban. Now, those are our rules. I stumbled a little bit on that because I wasn't quite comprehending the rule sets until I got towards the end of it. That's why there was a little bit of confusion. So, that said, let's take a look at this thing and figure it out. Now, I think what I was saying at the very end there is correct. It looks like there is one line of these 4 that must be used as a palindrome. There's one line that must be used as a German whisper, and there are 2 that must be used as Renban, but the user, i.e. me or you, or the solver, I should say, must figure out which ones are which. It would have been nice if that was written in the rule sets, but that's okay. It can be determined by reading the full set of rules and then figuring that out. So what are we going to do? I think what we figured out is this is not a palindrome line, because then these 2 would have to be the same digit, and clearly that can't work. But we can't necessarily say the same for these other ones. So how are we going to differentiate these lines? And I'm currently avoiding some of the very obvious things that are out there right now, just because I wanted to see if there was any way to figure out this before doing that. And there may not be, so it might be make more sense just to take the low-hanging fruit instead of looking further. Now, if this was a Renban line, yeah, it would still be able to work here. If this, because there's only that digit on there, we probably could figure out these could be Renban as well. So let's take our low-hanging fruit. This is a 2-cell killer cage, which is valued at 4, so therefore it has to be 1, 3. This is a 3-cell or 3 cage, so it has to be a 1, 2. We have a 5 here. There's only 2 ways to make 5 in 2 cells. It's 1, 4, and 2, 3. We have a 3 here, so this must be a 1, 4. And we have a 6 here. There's only 2 ways to make a 6, 5, 1, and 4, 2. There's a 5, so this has to be 4, 2. And we've just said that these is a 1, 4 here, so this must be a 2 and a 4. Okay. Now, we're going to also be able to probably do a little bit of something on our thermo, because it takes up quite a bit of this puzzle. It's an 8-cell thermo, so there's only 1 layer of deviation we can have. So it's going to be it's either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that, or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, something like that, or some variation. So I guess we're just going to type them in, because it does look like there's going to be something telling me down here, as you can all see it already, that will start to differentiate what this thing can be. So therefore the 2 is telling us this has to be a 3, so this has to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And this could be a 1 or 2, we don't know. Okay, so we have a ton of information now, which was fairly easy to obtain. And it most likely will give us some further leeway to now determine which one of these are the Renban lines, which one is the palindrome, and which one is the German whisper line. Now, do we want to see if we can get anything further looking at some basic Sudoku, because we do have quite a bit of info. I don't know that there necessarily is, though. I mean, we can certainly do some markings, but I don't. We can get a 7. Let's just do it. Let's take that 7, and that's gonna be pretty much everything we can get out of it now. Okay. I don't see anything else further. So let's take a look at what our options are. So we have 1 palindrome. It's not this one. Can it be this one? If it is, these both have to be 2s, because we can't put a 1 here. So if it's a palindrome, it's either 1 or 2. This is just whatever it wants to be. Here, we don't really know anything. And here, we can't really say much other than we know what the middle digit is. Then these 2 would be the same digit. Okay, so maybe the palindrome's not the way to go. German whisper. Is there anything we can determine out of that? Because if this is a German whisper, let's say, these have to be from 7, 8, and 9. So this would have to be a 7, because we have an 8, 9 here, and this would have to be either 8 or 9. That is certainly possible. If this was a German whisper, this would have to be a 2, because we see 1, 3, and 4. So this would be 2. This would have to be a 3. And this would have to be a 9. All of those work as well. Okay, and then on here we don't know anything about any of those digits, so it's hard to make any type of determination there. Now the last ones are the Renban lines, so 2 of these lines must be Renban. We can't rule this one out, so it could easily be 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3 this way. It could be 2, 3, 4 as well in any variety that it wants to be. If this has an 8 on it, it must also have a 7 on it, which would have to go here. And it would also have to have a 6 on it somewhere, which would have to go here. And this would be a 9. Again, that all works. Can this be a Renban? If this is a 1, we'd have to have 2 and 3, which works. If it was a 2, it couldn't be 1, 3, because we wouldn't be able to put anything here. Or well, this one would be a 3, but this couldn't be the 1. 3, 4, we could do 3 here and 4 here. So there's surprisingly little I'm seeing here that we can actually do to determine which one's which, other than removing the fact that this is a palindrome. Now, would it be possible to say, look at these in the eyes of a palindrome, say these are the same digit, and would it therefore completely remove the possibility of something happening elsewhere? I don't know. Maybe, the other way to look at it would be possibly that no matter what the situation they are, whether they be palindrome, Renban, or German whisper, there'd be some situation where we'd have a same digit appearing along the line. I guess I didn't look at this one if it could be a German whisper or not, but it could very easily, or can it? This digit here can't be 7, 8, or 9. So this is a low digit. So if we're thinking about a German whisper, this is a low digit. This has to be a high digit. It can't be 7, 8, or 9 because they all see it. So it'd have to be a 6, which means this would have to be a 1, and this would have to be a 1, but there's a 1 here. So this is not German whisper. So we can rule that out. I wonder if there's a way I can mark this. I'm going to put an X in green because green is what's normally attributed with the German whisper. This we said can't be a palindrome, so I'm going to put an X in gray because gray is usually the palindrome color we use. It'll give me a little bit of a reminder as what was what. Now, where can we go from here? So we know this is not German whisper, so it's either a palindrome, where if it's a palindrome, this is a 2, and this is a 2, or it's a Renban, and if this was a 1, this would be 3, and this would be 2, and if this was 2, this would be 3, and this would be 4. That doesn't quite work. Very close, though, to being. So are we saying this has to be a 4, a 2 or a 4, I guess? But I like that. What about, did we say this one was? If this is a palindrome, that's a 2, this is a 2. And there's no other way to go about it. This could be anything, though, is the other problem. Maybe we just have to have, look at what can possibly go. Okay, I missed something quite obvious. This has to be a 1 or a 2, and it can't be, okay, so that's going to give me that information. Okay, I was being blind because I looked at this and I never really followed up with the finality. We have 2 digits left in this column. This has to be a 1 or a 2 because that's all that's left, and it can't be a 3. It can't be a 1, so it has to be 2, and this has to be 1. Therefore, this can't be 2, and I think that's going to solve our conundrum here, because this can never now be a palindrome, because if it will see the 1 and the 2. So therefore, this must be a Renban. So I can get rid of the green X, and I'm going to put in a purple line so I know what it is. This is one of the 2 Renbans. Now, if it's a Renban, we know it was either 1, 2, 3, which doesn't work. So therefore, it has to be a 2 here. So that's going to give us our 2 and our 1. Because the only other option would be 2, 3, and 4. This can't be a 3, so therefore this is the 4 and this is the 3. Okay. That took me a little while to get to that. But got there eventually. So we know we have one of the Renbans now. So that's good. Can we do anything further with the information we just figured out? Yes, we can add another 1 to the equation. None of these can be 1, so this is 1. So now we either have this being, okay, so this can't be a German whisper because these are 1 and 2 next to each other. So this is either a Renban or a palindrome, which means this is either a 1 to be the palindrome or it's a 3 to be a Renban. Again, that doesn't quite figure it out. So let's continue because it looks like there's Sudoku-ness going on that we can continue to at least pare things down with. So there's no 1s in any. Okay, we get another 1. That's good because of this, this, and this, and these are all pointing into this area. It forces this to be a 1. And what do we have left in this column now? Let's stick to our low-hanging fruit, because I was looking a little too ethereal, I think, in some of this stuff, and just didn't see the easiness. Or not the easiness, but the things that were right in front of my face. So we have to have, what's left on here? 6, 7, and 9. This can't be 7. Let's just put those in. This can't be 7. Too bad these can be anything. So we didn't get too much use out of that. Now, what else do we have? Let's do another. Okay, 1, 3 pair. There we go. I'm seeing it now. 1, 3 pair we put up here. So this has to be 4 and 1. No 1s in any of these. No 1s in any of those. We already knew all that pretty much. So one of these 3 is a 1. Not too useful. Now let's continue with our Sudoku. I want to. Yes, we get a 2. One of these must be a 2. Can we get anything else? Okay, so this is a 1, 2 pair, actually. Let's put that in. And I'm going to continue on this path right now. Yep, so we can get a 3 because of these 2. None of these can be 3, so this is 3. One of these 2 is a 3. Okay. Let's look at our 4s real quick. We end up with a 4 in one of these 2. 5s, maybe. 5 in one of these 2. I'm going to do a bunch of markings here. Okay, here we go. We're going to get a 5 here. So we are starting to find some things here. So what's left over here? We need to have a 6 and a 7. I can't have a 7 here. So 6 and 7. So that rules out 7 here. And we're going to start getting some information that hopefully we can then use to work out our the differentiation between these 2. So what do we have left in this row? We need a 4 and an 8. This can't be an 8, so therefore we do have a 4 and 8 and 4. Okay, now we're going to know these 3, so then we can get this one as a given. So these have to be 5, 6, and 9. Nothing looking at them, that's fine. This has to be an 8. And these then, well, we're not going to get a whole lot out of this either. These have to be from 5, 6, and 9. There's nothing reducing that, so I'm going to stay off of that for just a second. Let's jump back into this loveliness. I'm gonna finish up the basic Sudoku here for a second, and then come back to trying to decipher what these are, because it seems like we're needing more information than what I previously had. Okay, so we can get a 7. These two saw all of these. And do we have anything else? Not really. We know one of these is a 7, and we know one of these is a 7. Let's go to our 8s real quick. We do get an 8 here, so that's going to give us another 5. So we can get rid of some of these 5s. Did that do us any good? No, not really. Okay. And one of those two is an 8. And one of these two is an 8. And let's check our 9s real quick. And we don't only have one, so let's move on from this. Okay. Now that we've got that nasty business out of the way, let's see if we can go back and figure out what the heck is what. So we still have a Renban, a palindrome, and a German whisper to figure out. We know this is not a German whisper. No, this is not a German whisper. Can this still be a German whisper after the information we put in? If it is a German whisper, this digit here would have to be a 3. That is possible, because it can't be 1, 2, or 4. It can't be 4, because you can't put an 8 by a 4. Then this digit would have to be a 9. That is possible. This digit here would have to be a 2, because you can't have 1, 3, or 4. So that all works. So this could still very well be a German whisper. And since we really don't have much information about what this can be, what's on this, I'm not sure. I mean, is there any way to rule out now the second Renban? We know we said it has an 8 on it, so therefore it must also have a 7 and a 6 on it. The 7 could very well be here, and the 6 could very well be here, and then it would have to have a 9, which would have to go here again. That all kind of works out. Okay. Maybe we can figure out what's the possibilities of these digits are by their rows and columns in, again, Sudoku, to help us figure out if German whispers or palindromes or something like that are possible. So what can this thing be? Can't be 1, can't be 2, can't be 3. It could be 4, can't be 5. Could be 6, can't be 7 or 8, but it could be 9. Okay, how about you? Could be 2, can't be 1, 3, or 4. It could be 5 and 6, but not 7, 8, but it could be 9 again. Okay, this isn't quite going the way I was hoping it would do. These can't be 1, 2, 3, or 4. They could be 5 or 6. They can't be 7 or 8, but they could be 9. So now, can we use that information to determine anything? Not necessarily. Well, it could still be a Renban. It could still be a palindrome. It could still be a German whisper. Yeah, there's nothing ruling out either of those sets on here that I can see. Because we can do, let's just run through them. We can do a Renban. We could do 4, 5, and 6. We can do a German whisper. We could do 9, 2, and 9. And we could do a palindrome. These could both be 9s, or these could both be 6s. And this is whatever is left over in the middle. Okay. So I must be still lacking just a little bit of information that will help me solve what's going on here. So I've got to find where that bit of information is. Where looks like a good place that has a lot, or yeah, like this one right here. We've got, this has to be from 4, 6, or 9, and it can't be 6. Again, that's very close to being something that's going to break this a little bit, but not quite enough. That's why I feel like I'm like one digit away. Like maybe there's something I didn't see where I can easily tell that this has to be a certain digit, and that will set everything else off. So let's look at some rows or columns and see if there's any place that a single digit must have its only place to be. This row, the 3 could go just about anywhere. The 4 can go in a couple of places. The 6 can go, well, 6 has to go over here. So we can put in a 6, I guess. And then the 9 can go anywhere. So that didn't do me any good. We already know what this column is. Yeah, there's tons of options in here, but let's just take a quick look. The 1 could either be here or here. 3 can be here or here. That's kind of weird if that's how you're supposed to solve this one. Or if this is the next step, maybe there's something that, because we can't put 1 or 3 here. We can't put 1 or 3 in any of these. So there's only 2 places left that a 1 or a 3 could possibly go. So therefore this has to this is just 1 or 3. Now this has to be from 4, 6, or 9, and it can't be 4, so it's just 6 or 9. So again, that doesn't do a whole lot either. Then we get down to here, which we're looking in this column, we're looking at 5, 6, and 9. Again, we have a 6, 9. I don't like doing all this much marking, but I'm getting down to it where I can't figure out quite how to otherwise assess this. So we know we have 2 pairs of 1, 3s. But they aren't really ruling out options here. I really thought we'd be able to figure out or remove another option on some of these lines to figure this out. We may very well still. Now, I'd hesitant to go back to just basic Sudoku, because I think I've taken it as far as I can. But we're going to have to give it a look. You know, one of these is a 3, but that's not anything I want to mark. And one of these is a 4. So there has to be a 4 in here somewhere. Fives aren't looking too useful. Now I was hoping there's another digit in here that can only go in that, because that would actually do some lifting. I don't think I'm gonna find it. 8s, let's do a last minute little check. Now maybe there is a negative-ish kind of constraint going on that I'll get to in a second once I finish this, or finish looking at this. And what do I mean by that negative constraint? These lines all have some sort of determination as to what they have to be. So it's possible that by looking at all 3 of the types together, that there can be certain things that they just can't, a certain digit cannot be. So looking at this line here, we know it could be a Renban. If it was a Renban, this could never be a 4, because we'd have 8, 7, 6, maybe, this would be a 9. If it was, we know it's not a palindrome, obviously. if it's a German whisper, this can never be a 4 because we've got an 8 next to it. So I think what it says, this just can't be a 4. Because we said it's not a palindrome. Well, no, if it was it can't be a palindrome. We know that. If it's a German whisper, this can't be a 4. The only other option is if it's a Renban, this can't be a 4. So we can remove a 4. Okay. That is something. It just means that one of these is a 4. Now I wonder if there's something further we can take that, because that 4 didn't seem like it really did much to us. It just created an X-wings of 4s down here at the moment. So let's continue that path of inquiry. If this is a German whispers, this can't be a 7, but it can be a 7 if it's a Renban. If it's a German whispers, this can't be a 6, but it can be a 6, again, if it's a Renban. Well, what's this digit period? It could be 3, 6, or 9. No, it can't be 6. So it's either 3 or 9. This is either 3, 6, or 9. If it's a Renban, it can never be 3. But if it's a German whisper, it has to be 3. Ay. This has to be from 3, 6, or 9, and it can't be 6. So 3, 9. Again, it's not helping me. I can add marks till the cows come home, and it's not going to necessarily give us anything. So if we're saying, so let's look at this digit then for a second. In not palindrome, in Renban society, this has to be a 7. In German whispers society, this has to be a 2. And again, both work. Okay, it just doesn't seem like I can do anything with this at the moment. Maybe there was something further I could do here. Because we know this is either a Renban or a palindrome, so this is either 1 or 3. That's how we got some of this other stuff going, so we can't quite rule that one out. Maybe, well, what did I not look at? If this is a Renban, we have a palindrome here, and we are a German whisper here. If this is a palindrome, we have Renban and or German whispers on between these two. Again, we can't quite determine that. Okay. All right. This one's giving me more difficulty than I thought it might. So let's go through our options. If this is a palindrome, this cannot be a 4. It can only be a 6 or a 9. If it's a German whispers, it cannot be a 4 because it would be 4, 9, and then we have nothing down here. If it's a Renban, it has to be a 4. Gosh darn it. Because this would have to be the 4, these would have to be a 5, 6 pair. That was almost close to being good, but not good enough. What about something else in here? Now we know if it's a Renban, this can never be 2. But if it's a palindrome, it could very easily be true. If it's a German whispers, it could very easily be 2. It just can't be a Renban if it's a 2. This is not coming out how I hope. Well, hold on. Where does a 5 go in here? Okay. The 5 has to be on this line. That's probably what I just didn't see. This can never be a German whisperers. This can never be a German whisperer. This can never be a German whisperer. Okay, there we go. That was all I needed, the 5. A given 5 here that was staring at me probably the entire time. We got there eventually. So this has to be our German whisperer. So let's make our line to say this is the only place a German whisper possibly works. So therefore that's an 8. This has to be a 2. This has to be a 3. This has to be a 9, and that should break absolutely everything wide open. There we go. Way too much time taken to try to figure that out. This has to be a 2. This is not a 2. And we had this one having to be a 7. So therefore this is a 7. Okay. And we must be able to kind of run through this now. That 9 makes this a 3. Now that we know we've got a German whisper, we still have either a palindrome or no, we don't. We can do it right here. This is a 1. So this is the palindrome, which means this is the other Renban. So let's put that in there. And if we know it's the other Renban, it must be 4 here to go with a 5, 6 down here. So this is 9. Okay, there we go. Again, sometimes it just takes looking in the right place at the right time to figure some of these things out, and that's what this turns out to be. So I think now we must have to be in the position where we can continue and finalize with our Sudoku. 3 and 1. And I'm sure all of you have gotten to this point faster than I have, because I just did not see that. This is a 2, this is a 4, this is an 8, so let's finish this off strong. This has to be 9, this has to be 6. These are from 8 and 9, so we get 9 and 8. And that gives us an 8 and a 3. And we get a deep, deep, deep in the corner. Thank you for that. These 2 digits here have to be from 5 and 6. And somehow neither is seen. This has to be 5 or 6. Okay, so that creates 5, 6 pair in this box. Therefore, this must be the 9. This has to be a 5 and a 6 as well. Now we should be able to figure out something in here, or one of these two. Here we go, 4, 9, 6, 5, 6. And this is broken now, completely wide open. And we can get this thing done. This is the 9, this is the 6, this is the 5. There we go. Whew. Okay, that definitely took longer than it should have. Probably a good 10, 15 minutes longer than it should have, just because I wasn't able to parse out what was going on with a couple of these lines. But at the end of the day, that was still quite a, it was quite a fun puzzle to go look through. I got moving pretty quickly once I decided to take these kind of low-hanging fruit type of items. But then there was a couple, obviously, little slowdowns where I just wasn't seeing some obvious things. But anyway, excellent puzzle. I really enjoyed it. ItzVara, thank you for creating this. I hope you've created plenty more or are continuing to create puzzles, because I certainly enjoyed it. I hope you all did too as well, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.